Thank you. And first of all, I want to be the first of many to say congratulations. What you guys have done so far. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. I'm quite sure it was a big accomplishment, not only for yourselves and your families, but anytime you reach a goal in life, I believe that that's a celebrated moment because we have so few opportunities to do it in this short lifetime. And my message is going to be simple to you guys before I turn it over to you guys and ask questions, because I'm here for you, is as you continue to be part of a rising star or you continue in your life to be in a leadership role, I like to always think of three fundamental principles that you got to do to be successful, no matter what it is. No matter if it's playing football, which I had the fortunes of doing. Never thought I was going to be an NFL football player, believe it or not. Most people don't, but I'll tell you, it didn't. I started out wanting to be a baseball player and an insurance man. And the reason I say insurance man, because some of us adults remember insurance man back when we were you guys' age, they used to go door to door and collect premiums. Some of you adults remember that. They used to walk the neighborhood. They wore a suit and a tie. They drove a nice car, and everybody loved when the insurance man come. He's the only guy I know that my mom had no problems writing a check to. She'd give him the money. So one day I walked up to Mr. Herbert, was his name. I said, every month on the second or third of the month, you go to all these neighborhoods and people are always happy to give you money. How can I have that job? How can I do what you do? He said, you got to go to college. I said, college? I said, okay, is that like past the 12th grade, like the 13th or 14th grade? He's like, sure. That was like the 4th grade then. He said, that's like the 13th through the 17th grade. I said, man, that's a long time to be in school. I said, where do you go to college? Because I'm from Pensacola, Florida, a little small city, a country boy. He said, you got to go off to college. Pensacola, we have colleges, so you continue to do well in school. You go to college, you can be whatever you want. I said, no, I want to be what you're doing. You collect money and you got a nice suit. So that was my motivation. That's why I wanted to do well in school, to be an insurance man. So when I played sports, my mom always told me, hey, you have to do well in school in order to participate in any sport. Any extracurricular activity that you're doing, if your grades are not right, you're not going to participate. And my parents were like that from day one when I asked to go play baseball. And I was a pretty good baseball player. I actually played baseball before I played football because there was no contact. See, I was smaller. I wasn't as big as I am now, so when I was little, I used to see these guys hit each other. Like, man, I don't want no parts of that. No parts of that at all. But in baseball, I can hit and run and there's no contact. So one of my friends, baseball, said, why don't you come out and play football, Derrick? You one of our better baseball players. You do okay in football. I was like, nah. So you guys hit, man. I don't want to get hit. He said, well, you can actually play defense and be the guy that's hitting. I said, look at me, man. You guys run me over. I'm only 100 pounds. He said, no, just try it out because you're fast. You can run around. They can't catch you. You're right. I'm on to something. So I went out and played football. Wasn't that good. I actually quit my first year. I saw a guy, he literally got the snot knocked out of him, and then the next guy up was me. Going against the same guy, I told Coach, here's the ball, here's my helmet. Could you call my parents to come pick me up, because I'm not going against that guy at all. I'm quit. So I didn't play. But Mom, they never gave up. They never pushed me and said, okay, if you're not comfortable doing it, but just make sure your grade's okay. So the very next year I went out and I said, you know what, I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to finish. Anything that I start, I'm going to finish. I'm not a quitter. So don't be afraid to, once you commit, you got to finish. And I guess that was my first lesson in finishing. Now, I would love to sit here and tell you I went out and played every game and starred and was a star of the team. I sat the bench. I played 5 plays that year. 10 games, I played 5 plays, so you do the math. Yeah, it was 5 games I didn't play at all. In the other 5 I played, how many plays? 2. 2 plays a game. You know what the 2 plays were? When our quarterback was taking a snap, taking a knee. They put me in that receiver. So I love to sit there and tell you. But my parents did something that motivated me at the end of that year. You know, when you're handing out trophies at big banquets, some of you guys, you go to trophies and now you get your medals. Well, it was a trophy about this high, about just as tall as I was then. And everybody was wondering, whose big trophy that is? Oh, that got to be Kobe Hudson. That has to be the MVP of the team. That's a big trophy. It's taller than us. Well, my parents actually purchased that trophy and gave me the MVP. And I was they said in their minds, I was the most valuable player in the family because I started something and I didn't quit. I took a chance on something I really was afraid to do, but I didn't quit. I made a commitment and I saw it through. And they were so proud of me because I was probably the best cheerleader on the team because I didn't play at all, but I was rooting everybody on, and we were beating teams. And then when I got in for my 2 plays, I ran all the way down the field. Even though the quarterback took the snap, they didn't know if I was going for a bomb or what. But I played, and I practiced hard. And that motivated me. When they gave that trophy to me, now this is what my family thinks of me. To say, hey, Derrick, we're proud of you. And we're giving you this trophy as a means of commitment. Now I could sit here and tell you the rest of the story is history. I got better in a heartbeat because I worked at it. I made that commitment. And every day I come out and I do something football related. If it was just catching the ball, throwing it up to myself, catching it, running where no one could tackle me on my own. If it was getting my little brother to run the football and I tackled him, he was my tackling dummy. But I got better. I really got better because I really just wanted to get better. Let's get better. I'm going to play next year. I went from, hey, I'm not playing at all, to, hey, I'm going to play 10 plays this year. And I finished. And I look back at that foundational principle, well, how does that propel you moving forward to the position you guys are in today? And I say the first thing, man, and young men, young women, when you want to make a decision to do something, the first thing you got to do is you got to make a commitment. You guys made a commitment when you walked in this program. You made a commitment. No matter what you do in life, you have to make a commitment if you wanted to succeed. Some of you guys, when you get in the car, very rarely do you get in the car and don't know where you're going. You have a sense of the direction of where you want to go. And it's the same thing with making a commitment. No matter what it is. I make one simple one daily. Start with some things that are small. But I start every day, wake up in the morning, I make a commitment. Thank God for waking me up. My commitment, obviously, is to serve him, and now my daily goals. What am I going to be committed today? My commitment today when I woke up was, because I run the Tampa Bay Storm, is I got to find 3 receivers to play in the game Friday. That was my commitment waking up. And I thank God that Mr. Odom called me and reminded me about today's event. But my commitment, I woke up with that commitment. I wake up with a commitment every day. I believe in small commitments, and the big ones will take care of themselves. The next thing you got to do is you got to have a plan laid for that commitment. Just because you write down that goal, now you got to lay out a plan. A plan must be laid for that commitment. You got to have a plan laid. That's why I say when you get in the car, you know where you're going. Now you make lay a plan out. Okay, what direction am I going to go? If I'm driving this car, if I'm going to the store, what streets am I going to drive on? That's laying out a plan. It's that simple. But yet it could be that complex. You lay out a plan when the curriculum you guys had to go through to be here today. That was the plan that was laid for you guys to complete the Rising Stars Academy. Now you take that to your goals. What you want to be? I want to go to college. Well, lay out a plan. How are you going to go to college? More importantly, how college is going to get paid for. For me, that plan was laid through going to school. I knew my parents couldn't afford it. So if I got the best grades I possibly could make, I could earn a scholarship. But they didn't have to pay. And then my football coach told me in the 10th grade, he kind of made me aware that I was good enough to go to college. And I told him one time, I said, Coach, I can't stay at the practice. I got a test. You know, I got to be done at practice right about 5 o'clock because I got to study for a test. I need to get this A. If I get this A on this English test, it's going to help me get a Bright Future scholarship. I got to have some extra time to study. And typical football coaches, he said, let me tell you something, Derrick. He said, in my mind, he said, academics is number 1. He held up 2 fingers. He said, in my mind, how I think, academics is number 1. He said, football is number 2. Don't never forget that when you're talking to coach. I said, well, coach, in my mom's house, academics is number 1 through 10. In football, it's 10 through whatever. But 1 through 10 is academics. And then he said, well, let me tell you this other thing, Derrick. He said, you want to go to college, you get to college game, he said, you're fortunate. He said, I tell you that to tell you this. He said, you're blessed playing football. If you're good enough at football, you have a chance to go to and earn a scholarship playing football. He said, so you get the best of both worlds. If you do well in school, you get an academic scholarship. He said, you're good enough on our football team to get an athletic scholarship. I said, well, thanks for telling me, Coach. That means I got to work harder in both ways. He said, no, son, you're missing the point. That means you don't have to work as hard in the first thing that I told you. He held up 2 fingers. I said, no, Coach. I got to work just as hard in both because I want both options. And that was my plan for college. That's how I laid it out. I was going to get a scholarship of some sort because I knew my parents couldn't go. So whatever your plans are, whatever you make that commitment to, secondly, you got to lay out a plan. And finally, you lay out a commitment, you lay out a plan. I say everything in life, you got to pay a price to get to that commitment. A price must be paid, period. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing you do in life is for free. It's going to cost you something. But it can cost you in a good way. It can cost you in a good way. Being in this program, it costs you your time. Well, you didn't have to be amongst other friends doing other things. But it costs you your time being in here that you're getting a very big reward off it. I apologize for my phone. I thought I turned it off. But you got to. It costs you a price to be in here. And it's a plan well spent. It's time well spent. For me, I tell my friends, I was fortunate enough, as it was read, I graduated from Florida State. Hopefully many of you will go there. I know we got another universities are represented in this school. Like I say, other universities are represented, but I went there and I graduated in 3.5 years. 3.5 years and played football. Didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss anything social. I had fun. But it was time when my friends decided to go do other things, I studied. I just didn't depend on football. So many great athletes go to all our colleges and very few have a chance to go to the NFL. Very few. Me and Mr. Odom, we had the fortunes of playing against each other and being teammates, but he can get up here and tell you the same thing. We had the very few opportunities that many do not have. How many, just a wild guess, how many of you guys think of all the colleges in the world, not just the United States, in the world, and then you think of all the athletes in the world, then you think of all the football players in the world. How many of you guys think that percentage is of guys that go to the NFL? I help you out. It's not 100. Wild guess, how many of you think?
Less than 2%.
Exactly. Less than 2%. It's actually 1.4 of college football players that are scholarship athletes that make it to the NFL. And that's just 1 year that they get on the NFL roster. So in other words, you got a better chance of going out playing the lottery. That's 2%. Of winning the lottery. Then you ought to make an NFL. That's reality. And that's why I say I'm blessed to be a part of it. Then to play as long as I played, 14 years, even more of a rare, even more. So I understand that I'm blessed, and that's why I don't want to give it back. I don't want to keep this information to myself. But it costs a price to do that. It cost me in college, graduating in the 3.5 years, yeah, it cost me to be mentally tough to do that, to take 19 hours one semester and still go out and perform on the football field. It cost me. But I wanted it. I always say the price of victory is high, but so are the rewards. And then when I played, I went back and got my master's because I saw how short a time people spend in the NFL. My first reality of the NFL, guys, I'll share this story, is we were getting taped for training camp. When guys was going in, you get taped before practice, and a guy that was playing with the Bucs, he'd been playing for 6 years as a starter. One of our personnel people walked up to him, and I was in line waiting after him my rookie year. and he whispered something in his ear, and the guy just slammed his hand on the table and said, "I can't believe this. You guys are firing me?" And he got up and left. And I looked at our trainer. I was like, "Are they releasing him? He's our starting fullback, been for 5 years." He's like, "Yeah, that's a reality check." I said, "You know what I'm going to do, Chris? I'm going back and get my master's." He said, "What?" I said, "I got to go back and get my master's." Because that's the reality it was to me at any given time. This guy didn't get hurt. Some careers end because guys get injured. Some guys get older, they get released. I said, "I got to get my master's because I want to create opportunities, create choices. Don't want to put all these eggs in one basket." And I think that's what you guys have decided to do that today in becoming leaders, seeing your future, creating options, whatever they are. Some may be in law enforcement, some may not. But these are foundational principles that you are setting up for yourselves for later on in life. And be proud of it. You know, I was always, I heard all the jokes, "Man, you're a nerd, you're a dumb jock. How could you be so smart and play football?" I say, "Easy, that means I can process the information a lot quicker, therefore I can make a lot more plays, and therefore I can tackle you a lot sooner because I know it before you." Look at me. "What did you just say?" I said, "In other words, when you catch the ball, I'm going to be on you before you even know it because I think faster." I said, "Brooks, man, you're a brainiac." I said, "No." I said, "I just believe in commitment. That means I'm going to be committed both ways. I want to be the example." A more personal note for me, when it comes to an African-American athlete, I want to be that example, that you can excel on the football field and you can excel in sports and be proud of it. No one is considered a dumb jock. I hated that word. I hated it. It actually fueled me because I heard a teacher say that to one of my fellow friends. And I walked up to that young lady, and I'd leave her name anonymous. I said, "I appreciate you saying that to my friend." And she said, "Why? Because you're in the same boat?" I said, "No, because I'm going to make all A's in your class." And she said, "Well, who are you going to cheat off for?" I said, "No, I'm not going to cheat because I want to sit right in front of you so everybody else can cheat off me." And she said, "Are you serious?" I said, "As a heart attack. Could I move my desk to sit right in front of you?" She said, "Sure." Until today, she used that same example of how I stepped up and stepped out and how it changed her perception of student athletes because people were trying to cheat off me. Questions? I'm here for you. Oh, you was moving your hand. You first.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Business communications. I was a mass communications major, and it dealt with the outward part, but the business side of communication dealt with producing and stuff you see behind the cameras. I wanted to get involved with the executive side of TV in case I didn't do that as an option in sports. So I always wanted to be involved with that from the business side of all the communications, whether it was on camera, whether it was technology. That's why I had chosen. Yes.
So you got a master's while you were playing NFL?
Yes. And I had a coach that was very understanding to that, was Coach Tony Dungy. I really go to school Monday through Wednesday evenings. Then I had to drive down here to Tampa, go to practice on Thursday, and I had to stay the weekend and work out, get back on the road and drive up Sunday. And I did that for 3 years. Whenever we were done playing in the fall, I went to school in the spring. Now, unfortunately, 2 of those years we were done way early. I wanted to start school a little later because we didn't make the playoffs. But anytime we made the playoffs, again, I was very understanding. And again, my professors, my coaches at the time, they understood how important that was to me. And again, we had a plan for me to be a part of it. So I didn't miss a beat. Again, it was a lot now. It was a lot of travel. That's why I said it cost something. But to me, as I said, price of victory is high, but so are the rewards. Yes, ma'am.
With all your accomplishments and awards, do you ever think about writing a book?
I've been approached about doing that, but to me, I write a book every day. I have no interest in doing that at this point. You know, I get more joy of sitting here talking to you guys and sharing a message. And if the Lord puts that on my heart to share a book, then I hope to do it. But I do, from listening to Coach Dungy write 2 books, it's a very hard thing to do. and very time consuming. So thanks for asking. That means you're going to buy it if I write it, right? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Oh, you want to write the book?
No.
Okay.
She wants to sign
Another question. What encouraged you to add on to your program?
With my foundation?
Yes.
Well, we added on, as I said, you heard in the bio, we started out as an educational, let me just turn this, make sure this is off. We started out as educational, helping mentor kids at the Boys and Girls Clubs, and to me, I'm very driven, and the program really came from the kids' needs. You know, we kind of went into the club and saw where the kids needed help. Some of it was tutoring, some of it was life skills, some of it was decision making, putting kids in situations to make the best decisions. At the time, the clubs we worked in was around Ybor City and College Hills, which was high crime rate, high drug rate, you name it. And I just wanted to equip the kids in real life situations. You know, it's not as easy as just saying no. It's not as easy as walking away when someone asks you to participate in a crime and be part of a gang. So what we went in, it was to really try to make it more real, to get them to critically think their way out of situations or not put themselves in situations. And that's kind of how it started out, just helping these kids. It was something simple as the way they dress. You know, hey, you're a target for a crime sometime by the way you dress. Because if it's a gang and they dress a certain way and you dress just like them, they think you're part of them. They're going to recruit you. But if you put a belt on, you wear your pants up, and you dress respectably, they look at you different. You know, the language you use, you know, amongst kids, amongst your peers, yourselves. If you use a different language, they're going to look at you differently. You know, how you carry yourself. A lot of nonverbal stuff you can do could really not put you in situations to cause you to make bad decisions. So we tried to get them to critically think like that. And what I would do is we would offer programs, and we did field trips behind them. We would go, and we were blessed to go to South Africa twice. And after we did the trips, I really asked myself, what's next for our foundation? And we were working with the same group of kids. They've grown, gotten older, and we've given them more experience we can think of. Gee, you know, I'm not technology sound here. But we gave them, as I felt, all the things that we could give. And then I asked myself, what my real passion is education. And that's what really motivated me to get with the DeBarlow family and open our own high school, really 5 years ago. It's, hey, we're basically doing a school and an after-school program. But instead of offering these opportunities to 30, 40 kids, I'm blessed now to offer it to more than 340. And we're still growing. I want to get the number up to over 500. So that was my thinking of wanting to expand our programs, really to offer these services to more kids. Now, it's been challenging. Yeah, as I say, when I made that commitment, I laid that plan changed daily, you know, but I was committed to do it. And again, it's the same principle I tell you guys. You make a commitment, you lay out a plan, and you get ready to pay a price. And that's on a daily basis. Thank you. Any more questions? I have about 15 more minutes, so I'm here for you.
How about a football question?
Sure, any question.
What do you think about Greg Schiano?
I met Coach Schiano the first time the other day, and I like everything that he's doing. Really kind of reminds me a lot of what we went through our early years. You know, he believes in discipline. You know, I think having discipline on any football team or any team situation is important. He believes in accountability. You know, we didn't have that a lot last couple of years on our team here in Tampa. You know, a lot of those guys were my teammates, and I still consider my teammates now. They were not held accountable for a lot of decisions that they were making. And I think he's brought that back. And I think he's brought some serious leadership. Like, hey, one voice, one way, our way, my way, our way, no excuses, no explanations. And he's using words that Coach Dungy used when he first got here. So I kind of like where we're going now. Obviously, we want to see those turn into wins, That's what everybody wants, but everyone has to be patient with the process and give him an opportunity. Now, one of the most smarter things he did is he hired a veteran staff. Like, even though it's his first year of coaching in the NFL, the guys that he hired, they have a lot of experience in the NFL. So I think that's going to help him out. Yes, sir.
Did you still play baseball when you played football in high school?
No, man, I wish I had time to tell you that story. But Short, the same coach that told me, that academics was one, football was two, he was also part of the baseball team. So when I went out and tried out for the baseball team, I made it. But let's just say political strategy, as I was told then, I didn't play. So I was forced to resign. I didn't quit. I resigned. This time my parents were a part of it. They knew the whole time that he wasn't going to play me, but they were not allowed to tell me. So all the time I used to come home and tell my dad and my mom, like, guys, I'm not going to quit because I'm not a quitter, but it's kind of apparent Coach Williams, I don't know why he don't want to play me. I'm one of the best 9 guys we got. I mean, I don't suck. My dad, like, you working hard? Like, yeah, I'm working hard. Dad, come see. So he basically positioned it. It got so bad, I tell you this story. We had 8 guys show up to a game. So I was the 9th guy. He had to play me. He had no choice. So we get there, I play, and he tells the coach we're playing to intentionally walk me so I don't hit. And then he gives me the steal signal, but he also told the coach that I was going to steal. Guy throws me out. So he dog cusses me out, saying I got the wrong signal and I wasn't paying attention. So he benched me because another guy showed up. That's how bad it was. So he really wanted to be focused on football. So once I started playing football, and after that, I really just, I don't say I lost luck, because I love watching baseball. I still love the game, but I really started to focus in on football at that point and started to lift weights and got a little bit bigger, because at the time I could use a few more pounds. Yeah, but his name is Coach Steve Williams. Look him up. He also claims he's the reason for my football success because he made me play football as well. More questions? Yes, ma'am.
A lot of the community sees you as a leader in the community, and prior to you becoming a leader in the community, you were a leader on the football field. Can you tell us what some of your challenges were? Because I know that the other players looked up to you as a leader on the team.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the challenges is, sometimes is who you're leading. In the NFL, we have to deal with, as a leader, you have to deal with a lot of personalities, to say the least. And you're in a leadership position, that's the one thing that you have to recognize when you're leading a group is you don't lead people, you lead personalities. And their personalities determine who they are as a person. So I always looked at it as really managing personalities, especially on our football team. You had a wide range of personalities, and I just always make sure everybody knew whatever decision that I made as a leader, that their interest is what I was leading them to. And I would ask questions. I would say for instance, if we were deciding, on what our team function, if they would say, okay, Derrick, you're the leader, we got a team function coming up in 2 weeks. You decide what we want to do and get back to me. I would go ask and get everybody to invest in that decision. So when the decision was made, everybody knew they had a voice. And that's how I try to do the same thing in my leadership today is I seek the opinions of who we're leading, and I make sure everyone is invested in that decision. And everybody's the same. I don't lead in the position I'm in now as the president of the Storm. My assistant, her voice is just as important as my vice president, Jeff Gooch, because everybody is invested in that decision. And I use this example at the Buccaneers, even for us, if our receptionist, she's the first person to receive a phone call when they call our offices, when they call the Bucs, you think about the information that she has to get. If she doesn't feel empowered or important, someone could be called in there with some information that I need, the head coach needs, or somebody needs, and it has to get there in a timely manner. And if you're calling saying, okay, I want to speak to Coach Shiano and I want to, you're another coach, I want to tell him about a tip to help him win, a game, because this team that we just played, say they just played the Falcons and they did something and his friend wants to tell him to help them win. Think about if she doesn't get that information to him in a timely manner, because she feels her job is not important. She's the first line of communication. I tell my receptionist and my assistant this, you're the first line of communication that comes through here in this office. So you have to understand how important that job is, because you got to get information to certain people in a timely manner. Well, it's just as important to my vice president when we're trying to find 2 receivers. Like right now, she'll be getting a phone call first because we got calls out to agents, and if she doesn't get that information to us and feels it's important, then it could really mess us up in how we operate. So I looked at it in a bigger scale in a leadership position for us, you guys, in your future endeavors, even now. When you're amongst your friends, you got to step up. Especially if you know that they're doing something wrong or it's a positive message to be sent, be that message. Don't be afraid to put yourselves out there. And as a leader, you got to understand, you're going to fail. It's just part of being a leader. Only one leader I know didn't fail, and that was Jesus Christ. Everyone else failed, but they kept going. I failed as a leader, but I recognize the mistakes and I keep going. I keep going. You're put in this position for a reason, so don't be afraid to fail. Fail is a part of growing. We all got to learn from our mistakes.
Hey, Derrick, thanks. I think a lot of us don't even know that you were recently sworn in as an honorary deputy.
Oh, yes, I brought proof. Because some of my friends don't believe I can arrest them. No, I can't do it. I can't do it all. But I was just recently sworn in as an honorary deputy here at Hillsborough County Sheriff for my community service here, and I actually got my own little badge. I got my picture. Well, the orange shirt, that's not a jumpsuit. That's just a sweater. Okay. I wanted to go get the coat and tie, but they told me that was fine. So when I look at this.
Recognizing the importance of being involved in the law enforcement community, and also the other thing, I know there's a couple of student athletes in here. If you can just maybe talk to them about some of the challenges
Sure.
with the commitment to the athletics part of it while in college, but also keeping up with the academic part of it, what the challenges are.
Yes. Well, your challenge as a student athlete, and who are you talking about specifically? You raise your hands. Okay. Part of it is time management. That's your biggest struggle as a student athlete. Whether it's in high school, college, and that was my biggest, I could say my biggest struggle, but the thing I had to plan for the most is time management. You have to manage your time as a student athlete. It's certain times that you have to commit, to studying and staying on top of your grades. Because now, if you don't maintain a certain GPA in college, they take away your scholarship. You don't want to be in that position. Whether it's academic or athletic, it's all the same requirements now. It's particularly for all the state universities, public and private. All scholarships, they're now making a big emphasis on accountability and grade point averages. So you got to make a certain commitment in your time management. And when I was in college, hey, when that alarm went off at 7:30, I got up. As you get to college, you'll know if you got a 10 o'clock class, that 7 o'clock go off, you hit the snooze, man, I can get up at 9. Snooze button, don't do it. I got up the same time every day. I didn't give myself a choice. I got up, I got moving. Okay, that's the biggest thing with time management. And then, you're gonna have to make decisions, social versus, I say good versus best. And that example sometimes for me was when it was time to go hang out and go to a party, the good decision was, hey, let's go with the guys and have a good time. But the best decision for Derrick was no. I have to study. I had to do this. I had to get ahead in certain classes, especially when I was taking 19 hours in one semester. That was a big load. But I wanted to challenge myself to see if I can do it. So it's time management. That's going to be your biggest struggle. And don't allow yourself to go that leeway. It's easy to say, hard to do. I went through it. It's a lot of times, man, I wanted to hit that snooze button, but I didn't. Something in me is like, hey, get up, get moving every single day. And time management will be probably your biggest struggle. Yes, ma'am. So you do have a question.
What did you tell like your friends in college that you didn't have time to like hang out?
Oh, it was simple.
It was just I had to study.
Yeah, no, I didn't feel like, you don't feel like you give them a reason. Hey, I can't go. Why? I can't go. Most of them knew, man, you're a brainiac. You got something else to do? Yeah. What? Study. Matter of fact, why don't you study with me? Man, I can't. Okay, fine, that's you. But I was very upfront and I was very stern. My no was no, my yes was yes. And if I feel you don't need to explain at all. The only person you got to explain something to besides your parents is Jesus Christ, and that's praying. Other than that, you just be firm with your decisions. And I'm quite sure you guys learned that as part of this course. You got to be firm. You can't waver at all. And that's how I really didn't get into it's simple as this. No excuses, no explanations. Your yes is yes. And I said that a lot. It's like, no. Like, well, why we even ask? I said, that's a good question. That's what some of them say, man, I don't even know why we even asked you. You know what? That's probably one of the most smartest things you ever said to me. I don't even know either, but my answer is my answer. And then when I said yes, it was yes. Let's go hang out. And some of it you'll go through like, oh, you want to hang? It's like, oh, you want to hang out with us now? I say, yeah, because I had time. Well, we don't want to hang with you. Good. Well, so I never felt like I was an outcast at all. Never felt I was sarcastic. I just, whatever it was for me, that was it. And you have to be, especially in today's world, you have to be that challenging. Seriously. I mean, even with social media. And please, guys, watch what you say and do on social media. I'll get on a little soapbox here. Everybody looks at it. We even look at that before we sign a player to play on our football team at all. I want to see what they're saying about themselves on social media. A guy calls my office at least once a week, talented football player, wondering why I won't sign him. And it's simple. And I told him, dude, you posted a picture on Facebook holding 2 guns, saying, peace be with me. I don't want that peace. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. He's like, he's taking it down since, but I saw it. And that's all that matters. He could have been jokingly around, which he tells me. I was just joking around with my brother, man. The guns are registered. He's a guy that hunts and all that. Hey, I understand that. That's fine. That's good for you and your brother. But from where I saw it first, I don't like it and I don't want to be a part of it. Unfortunately, I could be wrong in judging you, but this is what I saw, and I don't want to be a part of it. So I would say that, especially now with college applications and everything, especially employment offers, obviously we're in a room that, people tell us a lot about themselves without saying anything, with us not even asking questions. Whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, all the social media sites, watch what you say. Think before you hit send. I tell my daughter that she's 17, she thinks she's the queen bee of social media. I tell her the exact same thing. Watch what you say, okay? Abbreviated cuss words in my mind is cuss words. You don't talk like that in front of me, so don't talk like that when you're not around me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. So please watch what you say and watch what you do, because that's what a lot of people are going to right now, what people say in social media. That's our next phase of communication, and obviously, we want to be on top of it. So please, watch what you think before you hit send. Nothing is a joke. Once you post it, you can't have it back. There's no such thing as privacy. They tell you that on it. There's no such thing as privacy. As long as there's a hard drive, people going to know it. Yes, ma'am.
Who can you name as one of your key motivators for helping you get this far?
Actually, I would say I didn't really have my parents, I always say they were my role models because they set an environment for me to, be successful, understand what was important in life. I would say one of my biggest mentors now is Coach Tony Dungy. I talk with him a lot and just strategically what I'm doing. And believe it or not, you guys are my motivation. I really believe I was put on this platform to serve kids and give back in an educational environment. I really do, and that holds me accountable, to be honest with you. Me just getting an honorary sheriff's badge, I never thought I was going to be receiving one of those in college, more or less when I'm fourth grader and, little guy growing up in Pensacola, Florida. I never imagined that. I never imagined that football would open this world to give me a lot of my first time flying. I don't know if I'd had that opportunity without football. Probably that's the reason why I stayed in Florida, because I visited Notre Dame, saw snow for the first time, stepped in it, want no parts of it. So I definitely knew I was going to stay in the state of Florida. But I mean, I honestly believe that God has put me on this platform to give back to you guys and serve kids in any educational environment that's out there. Then I'm a pretty self-motivated person as well. Yes, sir.
How did you feel when you ran back that touchdown against the Eagles?
Against the Eagles?
Yeah, the game closest to the
Well, I didn't know that was Rondé who scored that day. Yeah, I scored the one early. The one I scored, no. But you are technically right. I'm going to get you off the hook. I scored against the Eagles during the season, but that was during our loss. So at that time, I was feeling pretty good because we were leading. But 3 minutes later, they came back and beat us. So, yeah, I'll sign that for you. But the one I scored in the Super Bowl, that was part of a dream come true, and it's just kind of a surreal moment at the time that you get ready to win the Super Bowl. And here it was in 1995. They was calling us the Buccaneers, and here you go 8 years later, win the Super Bowl, and it was just an outpouring of emotions for not just our team, but the whole city of Tampa at the time. I felt we'd been through a lot, and I felt we deserved what we was getting. I believe in life you get what you deserve, you get what you earn. And at that particular moment, I felt we deserved to be the champions, and we just looking forward to coming back and celebrating. A couple more questions. Yes, ma'am. No, I like all questions are good questions.
Okay. How effective do you think your life mission has been? I just read it. How effective do you think it's been?
How effective has my life missions been? It just depends on, to me, I look back at the body of work and what the results are. If I've, obviously I said that earlier, the price of victory is high and so are the rewards. I see what I've invested myself in and what's the returns. If it's being a father, what do my kids think of me? How am I raising my kids? How am I being a good husband? How am I not putting myself in situations, to contradict that? Everyone around me, is everyone around me productive? And that's a good way to show your leadership skills is if you're leading a team, how are they being more productive? If you can't help anybody get better, are you really a leader? Leadership is all about serving, so you gotta make sure people around you are getting better. And I constantly evaluate myself on that manner. I ask my wife, every so often, how am I as a husband? Just depends on what mood she in. Some days the list get long, some days it's real short. But, in saying that in a way, you just always constantly evaluate yourself. As long as you continue to set goals and achieve them, I think you're going in a positive direction. And always pray over your goals, whatever they are. Invest Jesus Christ in it. Give yourself a halfway chance of winning. And if it's not his plan, then obviously he'll deviate you to where he wants you to go. I firmly believe that. But those are just some fundamental principles as a leader. I always want to make sure, even our school, being the chairman of our board, is our school growing? Is our school getting better? How are the kids that graduate, are they staying in college, 4 years, or are they productive citizens? So I constantly look at little certain things to gauge that, gauge that interest. You guys, how successful you become is going to really determine how successful is the Rising Stars Academy. How can they better serve young men and young women that come after you? So I think we're always, in evaluation mode to determine that. That's a very good question. Yes, sir. I'll come to you next.
Do you enjoy being in a position of as a leader of the
Do I enjoy it? Yes, I do, but it's hard work. It's not for everybody. You know, everybody can't be leaders. I firmly believe that, especially if you don't embrace it. And if you're put in that position, you embrace it and you do your best. Because most people fail as a leader because they don't believe in failure. You know, when you're a leader once and you don't succeed, then you kind of shy to step up the second time. For me, if you fail, you should be even more eager to step up because you learn from it. And I'm not afraid to fail. Again, I'll take my chances. I'll swing the bat, I'll swing and miss, and one time I'll hit it because I'm going to keep swinging. And I believe in learning from mistakes, period. Now, some mistakes, obviously, you want to avoid, you know, and you can't put yourself in positions to not make drastic mistakes, but my personal mistakes, I want to learn from them. But yes, I do enjoy it, and it's something I look forward to. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, what are some of your future goals?
So my future goals, well, my immediate goal right now is to sign 2 receivers for Friday's game. That's my immediate goal. And but the future, I take day by day basis. I just want to, again, I don't want to sound like I'm, you know, positive Pete, but I am a positive person. I like to stay positive. And as I said before, I make my daily commitments, my long-term commitments. Obviously, I want to see my kids. I want to invest in my kids to make sure that they take advantage and be the brightest kids possible and they max out. Secondly, you know, I want to continue, again, serve our school, make sure we're graduating kids. My long-term goal is to get that enrollment. I want to serve 500 kids. That's what I just said 5 years ago, and I want to get closer to doing it and be productive while we're going through it. Other long-term commitment is, you know, I always want to stay involved with the NFL in some capacity. I believe in giving back to the game, you know, whether it's talking to younger players, whether it's staying connected here through the Buccaneers, but I always want to give back. I can give back by, you know, staying connected to former teammates, you know, such as Mr. Odom, as long as a whole bunch I've had a lot of teammates in 14 years, but staying connected to those guys to make sure that, hey, we're continuing to lift each other up, stay positive, you know. Playing football is tough. Our bodies right now, bodies go through a lot, you know, and the thing that you're reading about is people with concussions and how it affects their lives, you know, post-career. And I want to stay on top of that education part of it because I've had a few in my day, but I stay so active, you know, and make sure I take care of myself. So those are some of my short-term commitments, and at the end of the day, I just want to be a productive citizen. That's all. We'll take one. Oh, that's it. Final question. One more? I don't want to leave nobody out. Adults anymore? Going once? Twice? We're done?